let's get started. All right, guys. So let's do a very simple test with set functions. Log into PNT. Yeah, it's working. So log into PNT. Let's say very simple one. Let's say go to calendar, and then I'll go to search for something. Okay, so simple. Go to calendar page, search. Okay, very simple. Let's do it. Let's see if we could do it. And then log out and close the browser. Okay, so obviously OpenIE. Navigate to. Click on calendar. Click on search. term when logo. Okay. So how can I open Internet Explorer and navigate to PeopleNtech with the function? Simple call function. And let's call OB, open browser. Give it a simple name. And then system dot close process name. All right. So now, if we want to make this function dynamic, what we need to do? The values that we have called directly from the function could change this, and then we could call them from the script, from the driver script itself. And in order for us to do that, we need to rename them. Right? Something like that. And wherever we want to go to. And then we call them as arguments, right? Now we need to click on calendar and click on search, right? So let's see what type of object those are. And oh, actually, yeah, the most important steps is to log in. Before logging in, we cannot actually do anything. Username and password. Let's put it in one step, and then we log. Right? So without logging in, we cannot proceed to any other step. All right, so the username and password. So what type of object these are? Let's see. Okay, so to enter, in order for us to enter the username and password, we have to interact with that object, right? And how can we interact with the object? First, we have to identify it, right? Okay, so what type of object this is? It's a web edit. And let's see if this is a web edit too. It's a web edit, right? So we know both are web edits. So let's create a function for web edits now. Name it something that you like. You could name your function as your name too, so it doesn't matter. All right, so okay, so now how can we create a function with object, with child object? Anyone? Set. Right, remember? And then set description dot create. And so what this web edit is made of, let's see. I mean, how can we identify the web edits? In order for us to know that, we've got to go to object identification, right? Go to web and go to web edits. And we could see that web edit could be identified with these mandatory properties, HTML tag and name, right? So what we're going to do, so we're creating this object based on this object, right? We're creating this child object based on this object. So right now, web edit is the parent object, and we're creating a child object to identify the parent object. So in order for us to identify this web edit object, we need the HTML tag and name. So now we're going to identify that child object that we created in this line with the properties that we would identify with. Okay, so we would identify the web edit with HTML tag plus a name, right? So since we are identifying this object with this object, so it's like identify x with number 3. So x equal to 3. So can we not say 3 equal to x? Same thing. So in order for us to identify the x, we would say it's 3, right? So can we not say something like this too? 1 plus 2 equal to 3. So that means x equal to 1 plus 2. Are you following, guys? That's exactly what we're doing here. We are identifying this web edit, and to identify that web edit, we are creating a child object, and that child object would be made of what would help us recognize the web edit in first place. Are you following, guys? That's the logic here. Okay. So the child object that we created in this line is actually nothing but the parent object, or the object that we are trying to identify. Okay. So instead of saying it directly, we are saying it this way: creating a child object. So let's find out what is the web edit, HTML tag value for the username and the password. Input, right? So for the username, it stands for user. And let's see what is the password. So do you want to make it a static? No. Well, since there are two web edits, more than one web edits, and we need to use it more than once, we could make it dynamic, right? So instead of putting input here, we could call it later on, and we could name it something as name value is same. Let's make it dynamic. So we're gonna say something like that. Makes sense. And now we're gonna say where this child object would actually, what this child object would actually mean. So to do that, or where we would actually use it. So to do that, we're gonna do this. Do you see? So now what we are saying, this wave edit that we are trying to identify is made of this. That's exactly what we're doing. Do you see? And then now we're saying dot set. And now put another name. You could say something like that, right? Okay. Are you guys? Are you following? So we made this web edit. I mean, we're saying this web edit is made of this child object that we created here, and that child object is made of these HTML tag and name. Are you following, guys? Let's follow if you haven't in yesterday's class. All right, so that's done. So now we're going to click on the login button. So let's see what type of object that is. It's HTML tag and name, right? Let's see. That's a web button we saw. And web button is HTML tag and name. All right, so let's do that. Let's create a function for web button. Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's create a child object for the web button. Okay, because we're gonna make the web button as dynamic too. Let's do the same thing. Right? So this web button we're gonna say is made of this child object, right? And then we want to click on it. So let's call this as argument. Yes. So that's done. And now we're going to click on calendar. So whatever object that is, let's see. It's a link, right? So let's create a function for link. And what is link made of? Let's see. It's HTML tag and text, right? So same goes for like that. Now we're gonna say where what this. Oh, that's a mistake. Do you see? It cannot be same. The parent object in this case and this child object cannot have the same name. So you have to change it. And it has to be different name. Obviously, it doesn't have to be exactly the way I'm putting it. You could put it any way. You could put any name. And that's a link. And this link is made of this child object. Are you following? And we want to click on it. Right? Very simple. So let's call this as argument. And then we click on search. Right? And we want to search for the term. So we could click on search because that's a link too. As we know, I mean, you're gonna make sure it's a link, right? And now we want to search for a term in this search field, right? So let's see what type of object that is. Right here. So web edit. So do we need to create we already have a function for web edit. So do we really need to create another one? No. But what else do we need to do? Look at this stage of this application. Right now you could see there are two search boxes and both of them would have same properties and values. So in order for us to distinguishingly identify the one that we are trying to identify, we have to add an additional property to the web edit function. And what is that? Can you tell me? That's index value. So index value is always unique. So we are adding another property. So we could identify the one that we are trying to manipulate. Okay, guys. So right now, if we put an index value of 1, then we should select this one, and then it will type amend, and then we have to click on search. So whatever object that is, it's a web button. So do we need to create another one? No, we already have a web button function. Oh, so by the way, someone was asking yesterday if we wanted to create the search. I mean, if we wanted to search here, then you obviously would put index value as 0, and you could search it from here. But then there is no, if you're at home and there is no search button here, just like in here. So when you type in here, you have to create shell script to hit enter in your keyboard, and do that, guys. Okay, so when you go home, when you practice it, so that's going to be a good practice. Do that. If you could do that, that would be very great. And then all right, so then log out. So whatever object is log out, that's a link, and that's about it. And then we close the browser. Okay. You guys see how easy it is? Not that hard, just creating the function. So let's create a function to close the browser. Okay. All right. That's about it. So now let's call the functions. So let's first open the browser, and what browser we want to use, now we could provide it. We want to use the Internet Explorer. And then where do we want to go? Navigate to. Right? And then we want to log in, so that's a web edit. And what type of HTML tag the web edit username has? Input. If you want to make sure, you could always make sure. We're going to PeopleNtech. Checking without the spy. So what type of HTML tag it has? Input. And what is the username? User. And what is the set value? What do we want to type? Whatever our username is, right? And index value would be 0 because it's default, by default it's 0. And for this one, there is no more than one whatever it is for the username. And the same thing goes for the password, and you could see the HTML tags value. It's input, and the name is password. With wrong spelling. And the password is index value is 0. So after that, we click on login button, right? So we already have a web button function. And the HTML tag value for that weapon is, let's see, what is that? Input, right? And the name is login. So after logging in, we need to click on calendar, right? That's a link. And we have HTML tag of A, and what is the text value? Calendar. So we call the link function, and what is the HTML tag? It's A. It was A, remember. And but the text value is calendar. Is that the right spelling? Yes. Alright, so let's go down. And then we click on search, right? And the HTML tag is A, but search. So we'll make sure, and the text value is search. We'll make sure. So let's see what is that. HTML tag, it's A, and the text value is search. Okay, guys? So go to search, and then we search for the tournament. So we want to type in a min in that search field. So let's see. HTML tag is input, and name is search, right? So let's do that. Sorry, search it S with small letters. You have to be careful. And then what is the term that we want to type? And then what is the index value for this one? Would be 1, right? Because this is the second one, right? From the top. Alright, and then we want to click on the search button. So what type of button is that? That's a web button, I believe. Yeah, web button. And the HTML tag is input, and the name is search. Oh, sorry. Input, and then search. Okay, that's it. So we click on it, and then we log out. So whatever object is log out, again it's a link, I believe. And the link has HTML tag has A, and the text has log out. So let's do that. Okay, guys. So that should be it. Oh, I will close the browser. Okay. So let's see if it works. Let's put some weight down so you can see what's going on. Alright, so let's see how it will work. Yeah, so it's working. So we went to calendar. See? Type in start. Did you see it worked? So can you create functions with child objects? You should be able to, okay? Alright guys, so let's take a quick break and then once we come back, I'm gonna try to take questions and we're gonna move on to frameworks. Alright guys, so thank you so much. So come back by 8:40 Eastern time. Thanks.